Hello, my name is Anna Geiger. I'm a former teacher currently serving in the role of parent and teacher support through my blog, themeasuredmom.com, and an online course called Teaching Every Reader. Welcome to another video blog post, and today we're going to talk about phonological and phonemic awareness, specifically 5 things that you need to know. Number 1, phonological and phonemic awareness are not the same thing. Sometimes people mix those words up or they use them interchangeably, but they are different. So let's take a look at this visual. Phonological awareness is an umbrella term. It covers the ability to rhyme, to count syllables, and to understand the concept of word, and also phonemic awareness. So phonemic awareness is a component of phonological awareness. Let's take a look at all of those parts, okay? So one of them was rhyming. That's pretty obvious, right? Cat, rat, hat, bat. Examples of rhyming words. A syllable is a word or a part of a word that has a single vowel sound. So for example, hat has 1 syllable. Tiger has 2. Helicopter has 4. And then also there's the concept of word, where students can count words in sentences. Now, phonemic awareness is a little more complicated, so we're going to save that for our next thing you need to know, and that is this. Phonemic awareness has to do with sounds and not letters. If you want a very simple definition of phonemic awareness, here it is. Phonemic awareness is the ability to play with sounds in words. And here are the 4 ways that we want our learners to be able to play with sounds. Number 1, that they can isolate sounds. So if I said, what is the first sound in the word boat? And they said buh, then they could isolate that sound. Now I'm not looking for letters. I don't want to know that it's a B. I'm listening for the sound, okay? If you talk about the letter B, you're starting to move into phonics. And right now we're talking about phonemic awareness. The next thing is that they're able to segment sounds. That means that they can break a word up into its sounds or its phonemes. So if I said, what are the sounds or the phonemes in the word hat? They would be at, 3 phonemes. Something else I want them to be able to do is to blend phonemes. So if I said, put these sounds together to make a word, and the sounds were f, I, sh, I want them to know that the word is fish. And then finally, the most complex is manipulating sounds. So if I said, take the word house and change the first sound into then they could tell me that the word is mouse. So obviously that's a lot more complicated than that first part, which was isolating sounds. So those are the first 2 things, that phonological and phonemic awareness are not the same, and that phonemic awareness has to do with sounds. The third thing you need to know is that you can very easily integrate phonological and phonemic awareness instruction or practice throughout your day. And the easiest way is to fit the appropriate books into your read aloud time, especially rhyming books. I cannot say enough how important rhyming books are to helping your learners develop an ear for rhyme. And you can start with these when they're babies. I have a blog post with 75 rhyming books. There's a review for each one, plus an age level recommendation for each one. And even if you join my email list, a printable book list. I'll give you a link to that. I would say when you read those books, repeat them a lot, because that really helps kids to develop that rhyming ear. Something I like to do is leave out the second part of a rhyming pair when students are very familiar with a book. You can do this at home, starting with a 2-year-old if they've heard the book enough times and if they have the vocabulary or the speaking vocabulary. So for example, one book that my kids loved as toddlers is called Mouse Mess by Linnea Riley, and I would often leave out the second word. So for example, hush, hush, a little mouse is sound asleep inside his, and then they would fill in the word mouse. Even if they couldn't tell you that house and mouse rhyme, just filling in those rhyming words is getting that rhyming ear going. So that's the first way to integrate, is through your read alouds. Another way to integrate is through your routines. So maybe every time you line up to take the class to the bathroom or to the lunchroom, you say, all right, today our line leaders are the children whose names start with the sound and then everybody whose name starts with at the beginning, Maria, Matthew, and so on, they get to line up first. Or if you're at home, maybe you could make it a habit that at lunchtime you play I Spy on your plate. I spy a food that starts with P. You know, what is the food? Pears, pizza. Another way that you can integrate phonological and phonemic awareness instruction is through in your playtime. So one thing that my kids have liked to do is to take a pot from the kitchen and just fill it up with food from the playroom to make a soup. So you could say, let's make a silly soup, but our silly soup only has words that have 2 syllables or 2 claps. So let's see. Can apple go in our soup? Yes, it can. Can brownies go in our soup? They sure can. How about a pear? Nope, because pear only has 1 syllable or 1 clap. So those are the first 3 things. The next thing I want you to know is that you should do prepared or printed activities in small doses. So if you choose to do games and other things that you download from the internet, I would encourage that, but I would say not to do too much at a time. So 5-10 minutes is often plenty, especially for our young learners who get kind of burned out rather quickly. I have tons of these for free on my blog, and if I went through all of them now, this video would be an hour long. So I won't do that, but I will highlight a few that I think that you should know about. Let's talk about concept of word. That can be kind of a tricky thing to teach. I do have one printable on my blog for that, and I think it will really help. This is just a silly sentence train, and the nice thing about it, it's extremely low prep. Every page has the sentences printed on the bottom, so you only need 1 page for you and your learner. Just read the sentences and have your learner move a poker chip into each circle as they repeat it for each sentence. So these are silly sentences. So for example, duck chops wood. I say it, they copy it, and put 1 chip for each word. In the bundle, you will also find pages for sentences with 4 words and 5 words. Here's another printable on my blog to build phonological awareness, and that's for building syllable awareness. I have a set of syllable sorting cards, and I also have 6 different ways to use them. It's all free. There are things like, just sorting them into piles, using them in conjunction with toys, using them as you hop syllables, and so on. So I will give a link to those as well. Rhyming. I have quite a few rhyming things on my blog. Now, first of all, I want to say that if you are starting to teach rhyming with a toddler, I would say that my favorite resource on my blog is actually something I created before I even started blogging over 5 years ago. And those are my little letter books. Now, you can download them individually for free, an older version. I'll give a link to that. Or if you want to spend a little bit, you can get them in the newer revised version and also black and white, so kids can color the pictures or you can save on ink. They also have updated clip art. We'll provide a link to that too. They're very easy to do. You just print them back to back, cut across the middle, and staple with a long arm stapler, and you have these cute little books. One thing I've really liked to do with my kids is print the whole set for my 2-year-old, and then I just bought this today because I have a 2.5-year-old right now. We're going to start them. I get them this little tin lunchbox. I bought him Pete the cat because he loves it. And then we just store all the books in here, and he can just carry this around the house and anytime ask me to read his suitcase books, and we'll pull them out. I found that when I read these little books over and over, they start to learn a lot of the familiar nursery rhymes in the books. They start to sing the songs, and then again, they develop that ear for rhyme. Plus, they're just fun. And when you call attention to that letter on the front, that can build letter awareness too. On the back, there's a letter find activity. Most of my kids are not ready for that at 2.5, but some of them have been. And it might be something that they can do when they're 3. If you print these and make them a regular part of your day, I think that you'll find your learners may become attached to them, and that's great because the more rhyming books they hear, the better. If you're a classroom teacher, you could print 1 for each child and send them home after you work on each letter, if you're doing letter of the week. So that's a very basic rhyming activity. If you're moving on and you want them to actually be able to name rhyming words, this is what I created for my then 3-year-old who was not getting rhyming. This did the trick. It's a very simple game. We just took turns moving along the board 1 or 2 spaces and then just saying the pictures right there, like moon, spoon. I couldn't believe it, but this worked. So simple. And all of a sudden after that, she was saying rhyming words all the time, or made up rhyming words. If you're ready to get a little more complicated, I have some other games, and also I have these rhyming clip cards. So lots of rhyming activities on my blog. I will provide a link to those. Now let's go into phonemic awareness, okay? That's harder to develop activities for and to practice, but I do have some I'm excited to share with you. One is my set of 25 phonemic awareness games. These are free. I will provide a link to these. Each game adds a new sound. So if you print them all out, maybe put them in a binder, you could start with the first ones and then gradually move on. Each game focuses on about 3 sounds. Simply take turns moving around the board, saying a picture and saying that beginning sound. So for example, sun, s. That's all there is to it. This was a little hard for my daughter at first, and that's why I recommend keeping this type of activity short in duration. It burned her out if I did more than 2 games, and that only took like 5 or 7 minutes. So go at a slow pace and they will eventually be able to do it, but just don't overdo it at the beginning. I just created a new phonemic awareness activity, which I'm very excited to share with you. This is a subscriber freebie. So if you are a blog subscriber, you can get it in the subscriber library, or you can take the shortcut, go to the end of this blog post, enter your information, and it'll pop right up on your screen and you'll be added to my list. Or if you're already a subscriber, won't change anything. What this has is a set of 10 cards. Each card has 4 pictures. So each picture has a question on the side of the card for you, the parent or the teacher. Ask that question or tell them what to do, and then they will cover the picture with a poker chip. And there are 3 sets of questions on each card. So if your child is a beginner, you might just want to do level 1. If they're more advanced, you could do level 1 and 2, or just level 3, or whatever you choose. Right now, I'm going to switch to a video of my now 4.5-year-old doing some of these cards with me. I do ask that you give me some grace because I'm still learning about taking video. And these were on my phone. The quality is not great. Also, we have a loud house. So there is a toddler calling for water and a 6-year-old who is in a shouting match with his brothers in the basement. Please ignore those things. And you can watch and see how those cards work. So I'll switch to those right now. Okay, we're going to play with some words. I am going to give you a clue, and then I want you to cover the picture, okay? So here's the first clue. Cover the picture whose name starts with A. Which picture starts with A?
This.
Yes, because what is that?
Apple starts with A.
Yeah, apple. Okay, now cover the picture whose name rhymes with, ready, cover that up, whose name rhymes with star.
Banana?
Let's see. Star, banana. Does that rhyme?
No.
What rhymes?
Starry card.
Does that rhyme?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Star, car. So cover up car. Okay, now cover the picture whose name starts with B. That's right. Say the name of that picture.
Banana.
Yeah, banana. Okay, now cover the picture whose name starts with F. Say the word. Right. What's the whole word?
Fort.
Yes, cover it up. Okay, we're going to do the middle questions on this card. So, cover the picture whose name rhymes with higher.
Fire.
Yes, higher fire. Cover the picture whose name has 2 claps. Can you figure out which one that is? Try this one. How many claps does that name have?
Elephant. 3 claps.
Okay, try this one.
The guitar.
Yeah, try guitar.
Guitar.
How many?
2.
Yes, cover that one up. Okay, and the next question is, what sound does the word door end with? What sound do you hear at the end?
Duh.
That's at the beginning. Let's say the word together. Ready? Door.
Door.
What's at the end?
R.
Yeah, or you can say is the sound. So you can cover that door. All right, we got one more question. And here it is. How many syllables does the word elephant have? How many claps?
3 claps.
Very good. Cover that one up. Okay, now we're going to do the third set of questions. So I'm going to give you some sounds, and I want you to put them together to make a word. Ready? Here's the sounds.
Okay.
P-I-G. Can you put those together?
Pig.
Very good. Cover the pig. Okay, now can you tell me some words that rhyme with bear? They can be made up words.
This.
What's a word that rhymes with bear, but it can be a made-up word?
Hair.
Here, there's one. Hair is a real word. What else? Is that all for now? Hair is a good rhyming word. Go ahead and cover the bear.
Okay. That's the only one. Here's the only one I can think of.
Yeah. Name a word that starts with the same sound as ring. So what sound do you hear at the beginning of ring? What sound?
I don't know.
Ring. What sound was that? Yeah. What's another word that starts with
Umbrella?
No, it's not on the page. It's just a word. Any word that starts with
I don't know.
Maybe something you see in the sky after it rains?
Does sound start with S?
Yes, it does. I can think of something that was hopping around in our garden the other day that starts with
rabbit.
Yes. Rabbit. Ring. Okay, cover the ring up. And here's the last one. Can you clap the syllables of the last picture's name? Clap the syllables of umbrella.
Fruit crabs.
Yep, try it. Show me how it works.
Umbrella.
Very good. Okay, so those were some examples of my printable activities on my blog for building phonological and phonemic awareness. Let's review. The 4 things we said were: phonological and phonemic awareness are not the same. Phonemic awareness is about sounds, not letters. You can integrate phonological and phonemic awareness throughout your day. You should do prepared printed activities in small doses. And number 5, phonemic awareness and phonological awareness are essential as pre-reading skills. If you are working with someone in kindergarten and you're trying to teach them to sound out words and you are just hitting a brick wall, it may be that their phonemic awareness foundation is not good. Or even if you have someone in 3rd grade who is struggling with reading and you find out they can't rhyme, they can't separate words into sounds, you've got to back up. Reading is going to be very hard if they don't have this foundation in place. Some people like to think of phonemic awareness as the foundation of the house on which phonics is built. Now, this does not mean that once we move into phonics, we just throw away phonemic and phonological awareness. We integrate it and we keep using it, and sometimes we mix it up with letters as we're doing the instruction. But you do need to have a strong foundation before you try to move into things like sounding out words. So I hope this was helpful. I thank you for watching. I want to tell you 2 more things. If you want to know a lot more about phonological and phonemic awareness and all the other things that a reading teacher needs to know for teaching kids in K-2, I recommend getting on the wait list for my teaching reading course that I created with my colleague Becky Spence. You can get on that by going to teachingeveryreader.com. We only offer the course 2 or 3 times a year. I also want to tell you that if you want just a little bit of information right now, you're not interested in a course, or maybe you are, but you want a little more information about phonological and phonemic awareness, you can purchase my very inexpensive guidebook, which has everything I've talked about in this video plus more, and some extra bonuses at the end, like a printable list of rhyming books, a list of books that build phonemic awareness, as well as some very simple no prep ways, no printables necessary for building phonological and phonemic awareness. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to sharing another video blog post with you soon.